go to for asking questions and answering information. And Shar, it's 6 o'clock. What's your most valuable information as we start in your words of wisdom?
Well, welcome everybody, and welcome Doc, of course, and our guru, and who I've worked with now for 30 some years. It's growing every year. And I got to say, my sister and I learned everything we know about health from Doc. And I appreciate that. And I remember when he used to tell me, "You know more than medical doctors do. You know that, don't you?" And I remember saying, "Oh, yeah, doc, just keep telling me that. Give me a swelled head." But when I started having doctors asking me questions, missing their next appointment because they were too busy asking me questions, I started to realize that it was a foreign doctor, not an American doctor, because the foreign doctors are did. And so they're definitely more open minded than an American doctor. So it was, I thought, fun for a doctor to be so engrossed in asking me questions and forgetting about his next appointment. So they had to page him and everything. So at that point, I kind of realized, yeah, I think I do know more than doctors do. So we've had a lot of fun, and Doc and I did the radio show for 10 years. Well, Doc did it longer, but I did it with him for the last 10 years that we did it. And we had a lot of fun doing it. And maybe someday we can do another one. Who knows what will happen in the future? I'm not putting anything off the table. And I think the biggest thing that we have to do, and one thing I got to say about Robert Kennedy Jr., he just continued his own quest to be president, and he's backing Trump now, but he's so much into cleaning up the food supply and the air and the water and everything. He's very passionate about that, and he's a good advocate to join us, really, because that's exactly what we want to do. But we want to make the importance of nutrition on the front burner to everybody, because people are not going to make it if they don't supplement. You cannot eat a good diet today. There is no such thing as a good diet, and anybody that tries to tell you that is they're they're lying, because doctors say, "Oh, just eat a good meal every day." That's not true. There is no such thing as a good meal, because the doc talked about it in a lot of detail back in the day, how we started out way back in the day with farms, and the minerals would poop out, and the people that ran the farms would start dying, and they knew enough to pack up and move further west to some new soil that wasn't depleted of minerals, because growing plants is like strip mining the soil. And if you don't put back not just NPK, you got to put back all the 80 some minerals that you took out of the ground when you grew the plants. And if you don't do that, you're going to be growing food with no nutrition in it. Obviously, in Michigan, because of our high rainfall, there's no selenium in our soil, not enough to keep you alive. And I tell people that I talk to, if I were them, I would make sure to take selenomethionine on ours every day if you're living in Michigan, because you can't get it from the food grown here. It's not in the cherries, it's not in the apples or the potatoes or anything they grow here. So you got to not only take selenium, but you got to take all the other minerals and 16 vitamins and 12 amino acids and 3 essential fatty acids. And this is our big purpose, in my opinion, in Youngevity, is to instill that in everybody, that we're able to do that. We can't give up. I mean, we've got to keep plugging away, even if you only talk to one person a day or person every other day. It's worth it. If you can save one person, you've done a better job than doctors do. So don't give up about trying to help people, trying to emphasize the importance of nutrition and the importance of all of the longevity products, because believe me, they do make a big difference. When you are in dire straits, you'll be happy down the road that you took nutrition, because it will probably end up saving your life. And with that thought, go ahead, take it away, Doc.
Okay, well, thank you. As usual, you did a great job of introducing everything, Charmaine. Hit all the hot points. Very, very good, as usual. Thank you. And I just need to talk about a few things. You know, the artificial intelligence, we need to talk about AI. Have a new tool coming out here pretty soon. It's actually at the printers as we speak. So within a week, it'll be available. Maybe by next Wednesday, it'll be available. Artificial intelligence. And the whole idea is to, when you look at the what's the function of the artificial intelligence? Well, what they want to do is have every doctor, when they see a patient with a red spot on the right arm, they'll look up red spot on the right arm on the computer, and it'll tell them what to do for it. So everybody's going to do the same thing. Now, they didn't say what causes it. They just say, here's what you do for it. Okay. And so this is something that has cost us a lot of lives, cost us a lot of money, because people do exactly as that computer says to do. And so we have to say, okay, we got to turn this around. We've got to replace all the pieces that are missing when the AI goes bad. When your artificial, intelligence goes bad, you need to really sit down and say, okay, we need the 90 essential nutrients. You cannot get what you need from your food. Don't even think you can. Now, you go back 2,000 years ago to the old Bible, the Old Testament. They talked about the land flowing with milk and honey. And this is where people lived a long time, the land flowing with milk and honey. And they didn't have computers, and they didn't have all kinds of equipment and to be able to analyze what was going on there. But the people who lived in the land flowing with milk and honey, they lived to be 120, 150, 200, 300, 400, 500. And so this is in the Bible, 2,000 years ago. And you go back 200,000 years ago, 300,000 years ago, and there's all these places. They didn't have the same name, but it was the early stages of the land flowing with milk and honey. Okay. And why milk and honey? Well, it's glacier milk. It's not cow's milk or camel's milk. Okay. It's glacial milk. The rocks are being ground up, and the red dust, the white dust, when you grind up the rocks, gets in the water stream coming down the side of the mountain. It looks like milk. But also, why milk and honey? Well, because all those minerals get down into the valleys. It makes the flowers make more flowers, and there's more bees, more honey. So it shows you from two different directions why it's called a land flowing with milk and honey. And so this is easily fixed. That's why we have the fertilizer. We have the fertilizer that we have people give to their garden plants. They're going to grow vegetables and grains and things like that. By grains, I don't mean wheat, barley, rye, and oats, because you shouldn't be growing that. But we're talking about rice and maybe corn and that kind of stuff. And you want to be sure that they're getting everything you need. You heard what I said. I didn't say everything they need. You're going to be getting everything you need. Okay, very, very important. Very important. You cannot make these things. You cannot make these minerals. You cannot make these vitamins. And so this is very, very important. And this is why we came up with the flip chart. It has, I think, 77 pages in it now. And some of the most famous people in the world, movie actors and actresses and radio personalities and people who are famous movie stars and politicians and athletes. These are people who are famous, and they're living a long time, and they had problems, and we solved their problems with nutrition. Okay. And so we're telling their stories in the flip charts, because people, they follow famous people because they believe that famous people are going to find the answer to their problems. And if it worked for these famous people, regardless of what they're famous for, it'll work for you too. And so that's where the flip chart came in. And one of my favorites, of course, is the lady from Maryland, okay, and Madeline O is her name, and she had Parkinson's disease, and she was going to the doctor, once a month and getting tested and getting treatment and, running the bill up and spiraling downward. And the doctors finally, after 10, 11 years, told her family, look, she's only got days or hours or weeks left. This is not good. So she's prepared. So one of her family members was also a YOUNGEVITY member. And he calls me and says, anything we do for her? I said, yeah, here's what you give her. And he did. And in 2.5 months, she didn't have Parkinson's disease anymore. So after 11 years of medical treatment spiraling downwards, and the doctor saying the end is near, and this was like, I'd say 3 months, no, 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, 3 years ago. But she doesn't have Parkinson's disease anymore. And she goes around with her family member who's got her into YOUNGEVITY, and they're going around the world telling her story. Okay, so we have more and more people now that have the demyelinating diseases. Okay, we're talking about the demyelinating diseases. This is very scary stuff. Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Huntington's chorea, frontotemporal dementia, Bell's palsy, cervical spondylosis, optic neuritis, Charcot-Marie tooth, Guillain-Barré syndrome, neuromyelitis optica, myelin oligodendrite glycoprotein antibody-associated disease, transverse myelitis, disseminated encephalomyelitis, chronic inflammation, inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, anti-MAG peripheral neuropathy, hereditary neuropathy, pressure palsy, myelopathy, optic neuropathy, progressive inflammation neuropathy, and many, many more. These are all deficiencies of myelin. The white matter of the brain and spinal cord are going away because they were eating the bad foods, we're not eating the good foods, and we're not supplementing properly. So that's why we came out with the I-26. And the I-26 has in it what will maintain, support healthy myelin and regrow myelin in the brain and spinal cord. And so we have really, literally now, this has been going on, I'd say, for over a year. We have thousands of people who have these various diseases we just talked about, okay? And sometimes in weeks, they'd go away. Well, they had this problem for 25 years, and in 2 weeks it went away. Yeah. And doctors can't believe that. Well, it's because we're giving them what they needed for their body to be able to repair itself. And so this is why we came up with the book, It's All in Your Head. And there's so many diseases. Doctors want to do surgeries and do implants and give you artificial things to replace real things. And so we have the book, okay, and a CD. CD covers the spinal cord. But the book, 30 pages, okay, and it goes into more common things you get when you don't have enough myelin in the brain. And myelin in the brain, the top brain, is in a normal skull. They took the top of the skull away. You can see the skull is a 1/4 inch thick. The bottom skull, they took the top of the skull away, looking at the brain. But the skull is 1.5 inches to 2 inches thick because it had osteoporosis, squeezing the 12 pairs of cranial nerves, squeezing the spinal cord, because all that extra tissue is smashing those holes. And each of the 12 pairs of cranial nerves is one chapter. Not only does it describe in great detail the disease it produces when they get squeezed, but also what nutrients you need. And that's why we have the nutrients to go along with the various programs, okay? And so this shows you the brain going to the various tissues of the body, okay, through the cranial nerves. And the newest one we have, this is only about 3 months old, metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome covers about, I don't know, over 500 different diseases. Most important ones are abdominal obesity, type 2 diabetes, and then also the hypertension. Those three things together give you the metabolic syndrome. 1 out of 3 American adults, both men and women, 1 out of 3 American adults have Parkinson's disease. also have metabolic syndrome. Okay. Because doctors say, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat that, eat this. They're all wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. They're giving bad information. They're saying, don't take cholesterol. Here, take this pill. It'll get all the cholesterol out of your body. And that drives everything bad, because 85% of your brain and spinal cord mass is cholesterol. 95% of your male sex hormones and 95% of your female sex hormones are cholesterol. You do not want to get rid of cholesterol. You just do not want to eat it fried. When you eat fried cholesterol, then you're getting something bad. But you can eat things like butter and cheese and that kind of stuff. You can eat cholesterol, but don't eat fried cholesterol, because that will do you harm. Okay. And then, of course, our biggest selling book is Dead Doctors Don't Lie. We've sold over 343 million copies of this. Okay. I don't know how many places have it in how many different translations. It's in because we're close to Mexico. It's also in Spanish. Okay. And it goes into doctors just don't know. Okay. And then, of course, we have Hell's Kitchen, chapter 14. You want to read that first? Goes into why we have all these terrible diseases. Okay. Hell's Kitchen, chapter 14. We can read that first. And then the next one is immortality. Read chapter 11 first. Goes into all these various diseases you get when you're missing these nutrients. And then epigenetics. This book, Epigenetics, 500 pages. This sucker is like a weight in the weightlifting room. Okay. 500 pages, epigenetics, the death of the genetic theory, okay, of disease transmission. Because all the doctors saying, oh, your whole family's got this. It's because you have the same gene. No, everybody's eating grandma's recipe. And grandma's recipe was giving the problems to them. It wasn't any genes, okay? Because grandma was frying everything, and fried potatoes and fried buckwheat, and also they're giving all these terrible various vegetables and things were cooked improperly. And so it was the cooking methods that were causing all the problems in the families. Everybody's eating the same way. That's why everybody got the same disease. There are no genetically transmitted diseases. Genetics tell you what eye color you're going to have, what skin color you're going to have, whether you're a boy or a girl, what hair color you have. And that's about it. That's about it. Okay, when it comes to genetics. All the diseases are caused by nutritional deficiencies that are not caused by viruses, bacteria, and fungus, and yeast, and infections. And even when you're deficient in these nutrients, your immune system isn't working at 100%. And so you're more susceptible to getting these diseases. They're nutritional deficiency diseases and infectious diseases. So don't forget, let's see here, the artificial, let's see here, artificial intelligence, very important. And you can add many, many health years to your life, the life of your families and loved ones. Otherwise, you're going to contribute to the terrible things that go on. And I know I like to read this once a week when I talk with you, my family, my dear friends and family. Alzheimer's disease, each year in America, just to treat the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, not to prevent it or cure it, but just to treat the symptoms, we spend $345 billion a year. Arthritis, not to prevent it or cure it, but just to treat the symptoms in America each year, $6.8 billion a year. Type 2 diabetes, $142 billion a year, just to treat the symptom, not to prevent or cure it. Heart disease, $316.8 billion, just to treat the symptom, not to prevent or cure it. Obesity, $260 billion a year, just to treat the symptom, not to prevent or cure it. So I tell you these things so that you'll be, what should I say, ready to go. When it comes to osteoporosis, 3 communities, okay, we're talking about the United States, Canada, and the EU, European Union, each year spend total between those 3 communities, $6.5 trillion. And so when you throw in the $626.8 billion for arthritis, you're looking at $7 trillion a year. Those 3 cultures, United States, Canada, and EU, are spending each year just to deal with those things. It just makes you really angry because this is all preventable. And doctors say, oh, just eat well. They actually tell their patients, just eat well, you get everything you need. Don't waste your money on vitamins and minerals. Okay. And so you're better off eating dog food because you get vitamins and minerals. We put those in there. That's why we don't have to have health insurance for dogs and cats and hamsters and rabbits and raccoons and things like that, because they don't get the disease we get because they're getting all the vitamins and minerals they need, because we put them in the food, because that way they'll live 3 times as long. Now, if you just give them a piece of meat every day, they'll be happy, but they won't live very long. They'll get arthritis, they'll get osteoporosis, they'll get heart disease, they'll get all demyelinization of their brain, and they'll die at 3 years old, 2 years old, 6 months old, instead of living to be 20. Okay, so you have to make sure that they're getting their 90 essential nutrients. That's why we have the Arthrodex. Read the labels on their food. I prefer this canned dog food and cat food as opposed to the dry stuff. Okay, because they put gluten in the dry stuff. Wheat, bran, and oats, you can't, if they put something good in there, you can't absorb it because of the gluten. Okay, so all these things come together to form our community, for better or for worse. And so when you have this information, you share it with somebody and say it's worth you spending your body weight. You can be spending $2, $4, $6, $8, $10 a day, okay, depending on what you do for your work, okay, what you do around chemicals and all that other kind of stuff. Do you sweat a lot? Do you eat bad foods? Okay, all these things contribute to whether you're going to make it a long time in a healthy way or you're going to die very quickly in a miserable way. Okay, and so be a good example. Get people to do what you do, and you do the right things, and you'll have an enormously healthy community. Now, don't forget Rare Earthsman Cures. Rare Earthsman Cures. It tells you where to send your hair sample to Rare Earthsman Cures, and it goes into all these places, the land flowing with milk and honey, where people live a long time. Okay, and it's because, of course, the glaciers are grinding up the rocks. The rock dust is coming down in the streams, looks like milk. And so that's why they call it the land flowing with milk and honey. And I have to appreciate that the milk, okay, the glacial milk is not the same from every location. Some glacial milk has only 3 minerals in it. Some glacial milk has 12 minerals in it. Some glacial milk has 20 minerals in it. Some glacial milk has 30 minerals in it. Some glacial milk has 50 minerals in it. Some glacial milks have 65 minerals in it. Some glacial milks have 80 minerals. Some glacial milks have 100 minerals. And it's the ones that people have 75 to 100 minerals in their glacial milk. They're the ones who live in the land flowing with milk and honey. When you have glacial milk and it only has 3 minerals in it, you're still at risk of having terrible diseases and dying young. Well, yeah, he drank all that glacial milk and he died at 52. Well, let's do an examination, and we've run it through and see what's in there. Only had 14 minerals in there. Didn't have any of the essential ones. That's why they died early. Okay, and so glacial milk is not glacial milk is not glacial milk is not glacial milk. That's why you have to take your 90 essential nutrients and your glacial milk, and you want to. It doesn't hurt to spend the $25 and get an analysis of that glacial milk in your community. If you're going to use glacial milk in your community, find out what's in it. You can call the Department of the people at the university. Okay, university, and they're farmers, and so they have the analyses of the glacial milk in their area. And if they have 75 or more minerals in their glacial milk, that's good. I'm going to drink a quart of that every week. Okay. And of course, I drink my OsteoFX, my Caltati. I drink my plant-derived colloidal minerals. And it's one of those things where I do all that in addition to taking my 90 essential nutrients. and I take my rebound. Okay. You have to do this. You do it for your car. You have on your, on your dashboard, you have all these little gauges to tell you temperature, pressure, all these kind of things going on in your car. And you look at it every time you get in your car. You don't do that for yourself, but you do that for your car. So I urge you to take as good a care for yourself as you do your car, and you'll add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. So with that, back to you, Charmaine.
Okay, and that's absolutely true thing. You can think about your car, just like pregnancy is kind of like a baby going down the assembly line at the car factory. If the person that's putting the windshield wipers on the car isn't there, there's not going to have any windshield wipers, right? The same thing with, puff palate and all kinds of other birth defects. If you don't have the certain minerals there when the baby's going through that part of development, it's going to be a disaster. And if I was, looking back, I mean, I was lucky. My son had all these parts and seems to have a working brain, but it's scary when you think about it, especially today, because you don't want to. It's so much cheaper to take vitamins and minerals and take care of yourself than to have a baby that's got a bad birth defect, like a car that didn't make it through the assembly line properly. It's the same thing. And again, same thing with drinking alcohol. I've met people that were gay, and I remember they wanted to sign up, but they thought you were prejudiced against gay people. I said, no, 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 no. I said, Doc knows that is just another form of a birth defect. When people drink alcohol during pregnancy, it can cause, because you're not getting your nutrients, and it can cause all kinds of damage. And the person admitted that their mother was an alcoholic, and I got to know the person very well. And that's another thing about being in the mineral business. I've met so many people from different walks of life, rich people, poor people, people that had, were born, gay and had sex changes. And I would never have met people and got to know them personally had it not been for being in this business.
Well, let me interrupt you there.
And I just can't.
Let me interrupt you there, Char. Right now, all these kids getting sex changes, that's because their mother was not taking vitamins and minerals for 3 months before she got pregnant with them. And so the baby didn't get all the nutrition necessary to make the right stuff going on in the brain and in all their girly parts or the boy parts. Okay. And so that's why they might have the parts that say you're a girl, but then all the chemicals in their body say they're a boy. Now, you might have all the parts that say you're a boy, but all the chemicals say you're a girl. And that's because the mother didn't have all the right stuff in the earliest stages of pregnancy. So you have to blame it on the doctors, didn't give the information. I'm not going to blame the mothers because the mother asked the doctor, shouldn't I be taking something special? No, I just eat well, you get everything you need. So any doctor who says that kind of stuff to either a male or female, they should have their licenses taken away. You cannot get everything you need just by eating well, because the soil is different every place you go. Plants cannot make minerals, and 2/3 of the essential nutrients that we need are minerals, and plants do not make minerals. Okay, so it's one of those things where you have to say, okay, we need to take extreme activity to support our family, not only financially, but also biochemically. We need to support our families in the ways that we live. All little girls should be little girls. All little boys should be boys. Okay. And if we do everything right, this craziness can stop. Okay. And it's not the kid's fault. It's not the kid's fault.
No, it's not.
It's the doctor's fault.
It can never be the kid's fault. The kid didn't ask to be born in the first place. It was forced upon them, right?
That's right.
So, and they didn't get to pick their parents either. Some of them probably wouldn't pick the parents they got if they had a choice. But tell me if I'm wrong, but when a child is born with a sex disorientation problem, according to what you told me, it's because the hypothalamus gland has got the cells disproportionate. They're arranged improperly in the gland. Too many are on one side of the gland, not enough on the other side. And at this point in time, we do not have the capability to fix it, do we? I mean, there's no way you can go into that gland and rearrange the cells to fix it. Someday, maybe we'll be able to figure out how to do that.
Well,
maybe.
Again, let me interrupt you there.
That would fix.
We do have, of course, you don't know, do they have 2% damage, 5% damage, 10% damage, 50% damage? We do have the Xerafem, which helps make female hormones. Okay, so if the mother is breastfeeding the babies, she should start taking those Xerafem long before the baby's born. Okay, as soon as she finds out she's pregnant, she needs to be taking the Xerafem. If the boys, need the Xeratest. Okay, I take the Xeratest. I take 3 Xeratests twice a day. Okay, tablets. I just throw them in with all my other tablets and take them, and everything works like it's supposed to. I don't think I'm a girl, and so it's one of those things where
I don't. Yeah, it goes right, and this all goes right back to the education again. We need to make sure that it's like a public service announcement. If you're planning on starting a family, 6 months before you do, take care of your body and build up the nutrition in your body so that you can feed. It's just like a cat. When a cat has kittens, it eats twice as much food when it's nursing a bunch of babies. And so it's just common sense. And people got to have that pounded into their head, unfortunately, because it's obviously not common sense in humans anymore, and it should be. People back in the day seem to know, but today it's almost like you said, when electricity was formed, people forgot about nutrition, and that was a big mistake. You can't
4 o'clock. Let's see. So 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the 4th of September, 2000. No, excuse me. 18. Okay. 1830 something. Okay. Suddenly now we had electricity when we didn't have access to these minerals anymore. And so don't forget the metabolic syndrome. Okay. Don't forget the book, Metabolic Syndrome. Don't forget It's All in Your Head. Don't forget Let's Play Doctor. Don't forget, let's see here, the Truth About Nutrition. Don't forget Rare Earths and Cures. Don't forget Hell's Kitchen. Get a hold of the book. Hell's Kitchen, get a hold of the book. Oh my gosh. Epigenetics, Immortality, and get the information. And you can add 25 to 50 healthful years to your life. You can add many healthy years to the life of your family, your church community, your workmates, your neighbors, by getting them on all these things. And it's not just so you'll make a little bit of money for your efforts, but that's not the only reason why you want to do this. You want to do this because you want a healthy community,
healthy, happy babies and healthy people and healthy children in school. The kids, oh my God, I'm telling you, when kids have nutrition when they're little, they are so much smarter than the rest of the ones. There's just no comparison. I've seen it. My sister's grandkids, they always had nutrition because of my sister, and they were smart little kids. I still remember when my sister's granddaughter was a baby. Margie was taking care of her, and the garbage truck went down the road, and a friend of ours, Chet, says, "What is that?" And she said, "That's the garbage truck." And then the UPS truck went down the street, and he says, "What's that, Sophie?" She said, "That's the mineral truck." So they know when they're very little like that And I never got over that. I thought that was so fascinating that she knew the UPS truck brought the minerals. and, they grow up with that. It's just part of their life. And it's comes natural. And that's what it should be too. I mean, my son is always carrying a container, one of those longevity containers full of a mixed drink of something, Rebound or BTT, in a thing with water and ice. He carries it around all the time and sips on it all day long. And he has to take care of himself because he doesn't even have any health insurance because he really doesn't work for anybody. He's a distributor for Youngevity, so he has no insurance and he's not had any health problems, thank goodness, as long as he takes care of himself. And I see Sue has her hand up. She's got a question. Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, Dr. Wallach,
Hi.
you were talking about kids. Well, there was a mother who called, and her 3.5-year-old son, he's about 32 pounds. He keeps on tipping his head mostly to the right. She said he didn't have any history of ear infection or anything like that. And she watching him, he'll rub one side of his neck for a few days and then he switches to the other side, but he's always more leaning to the right. And she was wondering if there was any particular thing you suggest that she do to figure it out before she takes him to the doctor and they put him on some drugs.
Okay.
To see.
Well, needs the kids toddy, right? Needs a kid's toddy, that age. Just read the label for how much, for body weight. And then also it needs, I give them also the Cal toddy for more calcium. I would also give them the Rebound for more vitamins and minerals. And then I would give them the I-26. I give them the chewables. I like the French vanilla chewables. They taste like the name says, a French vanilla, but you can also get it in the banana coconut. That's our biggest seller, is a banana coconut. Okay. And needs to get that I-26. And that may just be what's missing is the I-26, but you need to take it all. Kids toddy, I-26. And make sure no fried foods, no French fries, no fried chicken, no bacon, no ham, no wheat, barley, rye, or oats, no sugar. All that's got to go.
Okay. Sounds good. Is there anybody else with a question for Dr. Wallach? Up there, I see Martha's hand going up. Let me unmute Martha. There we go.
So I got an email from a person whose dog has type 2 diabetes, and I know you were talking about it a little bit earlier, but I need to know what to tell her to get for her dog. And I know some of the dogs can take maybe by body weight the same some of the same supplements that we take. So Sweeties, yes.
Yeah, Sweeties, okay. But also they need the Arthrodex.
Yeah.
Arthrodex for how much? Okay. And a good brand of dog food. If you can find canned dog food that doesn't have any wheat, barley, rye, and oats in it, that's fine. But if they have wheat, barley, rye, and oats in it, you want to get the not the canned dog food, but the
Dry.
Yeah.
So
The
is
dry
like
food.
the blue something, is that good, or you have to read the label?
Yeah, you have to read the
Yeah.
labels to find out what's in them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Arthrodex will work.
Oh,
Sweeties will work.
and probably not a good idea to buy dog food made in China either. Right?
Yeah, they have a reputation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I would trust that.
Okay. And what's the
If you
perpetual?
love your pet.
Is that, do they need that too? Or is that, what is the difference between the perpetual and the Arthrodex?
Oh gosh, I had to read the labels. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's
But
okay.
one of the things you gals should get are these little,
Hmm. The flyers with the books.
yeah, okay. And holidays are coming up, so along with any other things you're going to give somebody as a gift, give them one of these.
Okay.
Put one of these in there. Okay. And so you've
Yeah,
done your
because
part. Yeah, you introduced them to all these nutrients, all these books and things that'll add 25 to 50 healthy years to their life. And so you're not going to be sitting there wearing them thin, talking to them about it. And so they say, well, which, if I ordered one of these books, which would be the one? Do you have any health problems? I got this, this, and this. Okay. And I would go ahead and get the Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Okay. Get the I-26, get the Rare Earths and Cures, get Immortalium, whatever book will be appropriate, but give these along with the nutrients you're going to be given. Okay. Give these along with the nutrients. And if nothing else, just one box of the rebound. If they take one a day, it'll last them a month. If they take two a day, it'll last them 2 weeks. And I go through 2 rebounds a day. Okay. And we made this for Theo Ratliff. And this went along with his healthy bone and joint pack. We had the healthy start pack, and I made the glucogel. We added that to it as a healthy bone and joint pack. We came up with this for him. And in 3 months' time on our program that we made for him, he came back, got his position back in professional basketball after just 3 months on our program. And after 9 years, he made $100 million in contracts. And his career was over because both his hips were gone, his knees were gone, his neck was gone, and no team wanted him because he had all the doctors just waved their hands and said, no, this guy, you don't want this guy on the team. Okay. And just 3 months on our program, he got it all back. He made $100 million in contracts because he took everything like he's supposed to.
Wow.
So he loves Doc and Youngevity, definitely, yes. I
He
met
loves
him
the Youngevity
in
family.
Canada. Yeah, he gave us tickets to a basketball game, remember, Doc?
Yep.
We went to a basketball game in Canada.
Good to see Helen again.
Yeah, Helen was with us. Yep, I got
We have witnesses.
I barely come slightly above his waist. That's how short I am. Anyway, Sue's got her hand up. Go ahead, Sue.
Well, first I want to see if anybody else had questions before okay.
I don't see Michael. I don't know if he has a question or not.
He's still here, but his hand isn't raised.
Okay.
I'll ask him unmute in case he does. He can come in that way.
Okay, well, just remember the holidays are coming up, and it doesn't hurt to give people, no matter what you give them, throw a handful of the rebound sticks, in the package you give them.
Yep.
That kind of thing. Give them our various drinks. And
Stocking stuffers.
Stocking stuffers. There you go.
Stuffers, right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We were talking about seasonal stuff. Well, right now, back to school is the season. And so we had a lot of kid questions coming here. But my question, Doc, again, on the whole kid subject, is my colloidal silver. So I just clean my nose to kill infections after I've been around a lot of kids that time of year. Is this safe for kids to use after they get home from school? It's colloidal, Youngevity's colloidal silver.
Colloidal silver is safe for kids. You can put it in their eyes. You can put it in an open wound, a scratch or a cut. Won't burn. There's no alcohol in it. And I've been using this for over 40 years. It's been used for 400 years by the humanity. And it kills all viruses, bacteria, fungus, and yeast. Penicillin only kills 2 bacteria. Colloidal silver kills them all. Okay. And so I take a dropper full under my tongue on the right side. I take a dropper full under my tongue on the left side, 10 minutes before breakfast, 10 minutes for lunch, 10 minutes for dinner, and 10 minutes for bedtime. With all the lectures I give and all the meetings with all these people hacking and coughing and sneezing and all this kind of stuff, You guys know me for years. For 75 years, I've never been laid up. I've never had
which
to
is a
cancel
big,
any meetings or anything like
yeah.
that.
Okay.
That's
Well,
that.
the next. Oh,
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Char.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No,
Oh,
go ahead, Sue. I said that's
the next
a
question, if
tribute
nobody.
to Doc's health right there. I mean, the fact that he is never sick and laid up, that's really phenomenal at his age, really.
Yes, it is.
So it's a tribute to his health and the fact that he takes care of himself. He practices what he preaches. That's proof of it right there.
You know, I'm
The next-
There
85.
you go.
Most people think I'm in my
Go ahead,
50s.
Sue.
I'm 85.
The next question, again with kids, they have a tendency to spread ball funguses, or I should say parasites around,
Let me turn this off.
like pinworm. Is there anything that Youngevity has that a mother could give to their kid, especially as school starts and kids don't wash their hands yet in the bathroom, to prevent pinworm? Or other parasites that they collect from their friends at school?
Pinworms, if they use soap and wash their hands before, when they first walk into the bathroom, wash their hands. After they use the bathroom, okay, wash your hands again. Before they eat, wash your hands. After they eat, wash your hands. Before they go to bed, wash their hands. When they wake up, wash their hands. And get them used to washing their hands. This is why doctors spread disease. They don't wash their hands all the time. Oh, I was so busy, I just didn't wash my hands. Okay. And
Okay.
so it's one of those things where washing hands is very simple. And I keep, our bars of soap in the shower, in the bathroom where we have all kinds of things, every kind of thing you can think of in a bathroom. Okay. And we don't have pets in the house, but if we had pets in the house, we would be giving them everything they need as well, and we'd be giving them the colloidal silver as well. We do have all the things that dogs and cats and rabbits and mice and raccoons need. Okay, Arthrodex, and of course the plant minerals in their water, their drinking water. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm getting calls stacked up here.
Okay. You need to take a call, Doc. Did you want to take a call? Did you want to take a call? Or can I ask another question?
Oh, you go ahead and ask one more question.
Okay. With kids and the athletic thing and the showers where they wash their feet and everything, you get the athlete's foot, but especially I think boys have a tendency to get foot funguses, or I should say funguses under their toenails, And I was wondering, the colloidal silver, I thought you had said one time treats it, but how can moms prevent it from coming back or encourage the nail to grow faster after they've had that?
Okay, if you want to grow your nails faster, that's what the glucogel will do. Glucogel will regrow tendons, ligaments, connective tissue, cartilage, nails, fingernails, toenails, skin, outer skin. Okay, so glucogel is a product that I invented because people were tired of doing, cooking, getting bone broth and drinking the bone broth the next day because it'd stink up the house, and in the summertime it'd heat up the house. And so I came up with the glucogel, and you take that instead of the stuff that you make bone broth, and it rebuilds all your cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue.
Okay. So, but the growing of the nail isn't the same as killing the fungus, or does that help lessen the fungus, and so that they don't have
colloidal
to
colloidal silver.
Okay. All right. So let's see. I think I just saw somebody else join us. Did anybody have any questions? Another question?
I don't see anybody with their hand up besides you.
Besides me, I've got a hog in the show, aren't I? Mike, I did have another question since we touched base on animals. When dogs eat grass, is it because they are mineral deficient or because they have sick bellies?
It's because they are minerally deficient.
Minerally deficient. And so all the things you listed before would be the correct way to help them not eat grass?
And if you watch
Correct.
them, if you watch them, they'll eat dirt and all that kind of stuff. And
Yep.
and same thing with cows and horses. They'll eat fences and they'll eat dirt and all that kind of stuff. And it's called cribbing. It's called cribbing. When you see a horse licking or chewing on a fence, they're wanting the salt you left on there or your sweat on the gate. Okay, and then they start chewing on the fence itself because they're looking for something because they're minerally deficient. Okay, and that's called cribbing. And so these are all signals that farmers recognize. And that's why they came up with a salt block that had, like a dozen or 25 trace minerals in it, the big purple salt blocks. Okay, so they'll lick the salt, but they're getting the trace minerals at the same time. And it stops them from eating the gates and the fence and the dirt and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. And dogs are the same. Dogs
Same way,
have
same way.
cribbing too.
Yeah, you can put the same salt block in the house. Use some of the plant-derived colloidal minerals. Start out with a couple of drops in their dish, and usually with a couple of drops in there, they won't react. If you put a capful in a pint of water, they might react and shake their head and not go back to it. So just start out with a couple of drops. Same way with little kids. You have kids toddy. It's a great multi-vitamin mineral for little kids. And so they can have it from the time, they're a month old all the way up to 12 years old. But by then they should be doing the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Okay. And Char, looks like Martha has
I don't know if
her hand
anybody
up.
can
Let
see
me-
this or not here, but that's my son's front yard. We got a minute
Oh,
for the year.
cool.
And it's almost eating right there. You can see it. I know it's not probably
Yeah,
clear.
I could
Anyway, we
see
have-
it.
Yeah, neat.
Yeah,
So
that's
Dr.
our front
Wallach,
yard. That's my front yard. Yep.
wow.
Cool. Martha had her hand raised.
Cracked
Yeah,
corn.
I don't have any particulars, but I have somebody asking me about glaucoma.
Okay, glaucoma is where your pressure inside your eyeball goes up, usually because you have osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the optic nerve and the optic artery and the optic vein. So it's a clue that you got osteoporosis of the skull.
Okay. So just treat it
Go
like
away.
I-26.
all right,
Yeah.
thank you. I'll pass that on.
Main
Okay. And then we only have 7 more minutes. Oops. Make sure that we only have 7 more
Yeah.
minutes. Dr.
open the call up. Let's open the call to everybody, and anybody that wants to slide by or ask a question or anything can do it quick.
Okay. Okay. I'm asking
Good
everybody to unmute. *6 does it if you're a phone, but everybody can unmute. And Char, did you have any words of wisdom for us? Well, everybody's unmuting.
Okay, well, everybody's unmuting. Again, I'm going to remind everybody the holidays are coming up, and think about all your relatives, all your workmates, okay, your classmates, your neighbors, and just don't give them a hamburger or something like that. Give them a box of Rebound, or give them a bottle of plant-derived minerals. If they have a dog, give them some Arthur-Dex for their
Or
dog.
one of your books. Or one of your books, Doc.
Yeah,
Definitely one of your books.
yeah, give them one of our flip charts.
Because there's a
Mhm.
lot of
Yeah,
water.
give them a flip chart
Yep.
because it covers a lot of territory in common language.
The boring
So that's good to give to somebody.
So anybody that wants to order books, CDs, or anything, you can call Waldus Publications at 1-800-55-4656. That's 1-800-756 and order all books and CDs and any of the stuff they got available. You can order it right from Wellness Publications directly. And you can make a little money if you want to do it as a business. You can have some books on hand and sell them for a little bit than you paid for them and make a little money that way.
Yeah, when you buy 10 of any one title at the same time, you get a nice discount. So
you get
that they'll give you a little break.
It's worth it. It's worth it. Back in the day, I used to sell quite a few books. So very interesting. Yes. Yeah,
if you're growing a longevity business, you should have some of the main books we have, 2 or 3 copies of each one at your house or your office, and say, if you're really serious about this, you need to get this book and know what to do. That'll help you, to read a couple of pages every night or during the day instead of reading a comic book, and that will help you grow your business.
That's how I learned. I listened to the CDs. I'm not a good book reader, but I listened to the CDs over and over and over again. And they started out as cassette tapes. I remember my husband would be watching a football game and I'd be on the floor with my little headphones on, listening to the cassette tape thing. And that's how I learned. I learned how to go through in my head your lectures. So that's how I learned how to answer questions, because the answers were in your lecture. So I just knew your lecture by heart, and I that's how I figured it out. I wasn't that smart. That's how I learned. So
it's wonderful. I just love our group and everybody coming, because Doc has the full truth, not just the parts and pieces he wants for himself. It's everybody. We just have 3 minutes left. Did anybody have a question they wanted to talk to Doc about, or any kind of greeting, just saying hi? Because it's great having everybody join us.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Well,
all right. Bye-bye, Dr. Wallach.
Bye-bye.
Thank
you.
you.
Doc.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We've had
Thank
a
you.
lot of the years, and we're not done yet. We're just
we're not done yet.
Okay,
we're not done yet.
We're not done yet. We're just beginning.
We're just
3 minutes.
We're enjoying having fun. That's what we got to do.
Going on.
Look, I'm 81, but I don't care. I'm not ready to throw in the towel. I'm not ready to retire. I want to keep going. I want to
I'm 85 and I'm not ready to retire.
No, I want to relive my life. And Helen, thanks for being on.
I missed you guys. Nice to see you too.
I know. We need to start having meetings in Canada again or something. We got to do something.
I know.
We just don't want the discomfort of not having minerals.